Okay, so I just wanted to make a quick video. This is coming out right now. Jenna Ortega will not be returning for Scream 7, and she's canceled her contract with the Scream franchise. Now, normally I wouldn't be talking about celebrity Hollywood stuff, but this is really important because of the broader context with the Palestinian-Israeli conflict and the genocide that's going on in Gaza. So let's take a look at how this all began. So it says here, Variety reports that Melissa Barrera, I might be mispronouncing that, I apologize for that, was fired from the Scream franchise after floating an anti-Semitic trope that Jews control the media, an Instagram story. Quote, Western media only shows the other side. Why they do that, I will let you deduce for yourself. End quote. So this is a quote mining fallacy. Let's look at what she actually said. I've been actively looking for videos and information about this Palestinian side for the last 2 weeks or so, following accounts, etc. Why? Because Western media only shows the other side. Why they do that, I will let you deduce for yourself. Usually, the algorithm on social media gets the gist. Well, my Discover page on Instagram will only show me videos showing and talking about the Israeli side. Censorship is very real. Palestinians know this. They know the world has been trying to make them invisible for decades. Keep sharing. So, is there anything, quote unquote, anti Semitic about that? Absolutely not. She was expressing her her disappointment that she is only receiving news about the Palestinian Israeli conflict from a pro Israeli perspective, a slant, a spin. And she knew that that was troubling. She knew that that was wrong. And she knew that there was Zionist influence in the media. Um, so this this assertion, floating an anti-Semitic trope that Jews control the media, that is complete bullshit. Okay, that's complete bullshit. She was showing, she was expressing a pro-Palestinian opinion that she believes that American media is biased and is pro-Israeli and is being influenced by Zionists, and she's right. Okay. Now here's the thing. The main problem is that Zionists make no distinction between Jews and Zionists. They routinely conflate the two and equivocate. Okay, so that means that Zionists don't make a distinction between Jews and Zionists. Furthermore, Zionists almost never identify as Zionist. They only ever identify as Jewish. Because of that lack of distinction from their part, that lack of distinction informs the vocabulary and the understanding of everyone else. In other words, if Zionists do not make a distinction between Jews and Zionists, how on earth can you expect anyone else to do any different? After all, who is actually platformed in Western countries, and especially America? Is it the anti-Zionist Jews, like the Haredi, who speak out against Zionism, who speak out against Israel? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It is the Zionists that are platformed and have the most influence and reach in mainstream media. Okay? I'll come back to that in a second. But I want to make it absolutely clear that Melissa said absolutely nothing wrong. And she didn't even say that Jews control the media. That is what this thing is saying. We all looked at what she actually said here. said absolutely nothing of the sort. In her Instagram post, she was lamenting about the one-sidedness, the one-sided coverage of this genocide that's going on, and how Israel is getting away with genocide with zero pushback from mainstream media, and especially CNN. CNN is a disgrace. It is an absolute disgrace. It's a monstrosity. They've been declining even before October 7th, but ever since October 7th happened, mask us off for those idiots, for those pieces of shit. Okay, their pro-Zionist inclinations have been on display for everyone to see. Anderson Cooper should be ashamed of himself for continuing to work there and platforming these disgusting racist Zionist pieces of fucking shit on CNN and allowing them to platform all of their fucking lies without any pushback at all. Shame on them. Shame on you, Anderson Cooper. Let's move on though. Let's go back to this story. Now it says here, this just came out. Jenna Ortega is not returning to Scream 7. Now it's saying here it's due to a conflict in scheduling due to her commitments to Wednesday, but the timing is way too conspicuous. Okay, uh, undoubtedly to me, this is showing solidarity with her colleague, and that she's not gonna put up with this. Now she's gonna do it in kind of like a politically correct way. She's gonna say, it's due to a scheduling conflict. She's not saying that. Her, agent, I'm sure, publicist, whoever it is the one who's saying that. But let's be real here. Okay, she's showing um, solidarity with her colleague because her colleague, Melissa Barrera, said absolutely nothing wrong, 100% in the right. Okay, and these women are heroes. Okay, these women are heroes. Good on them for standing up to the Zionist pieces of shit who are trying to silence any dissent, any criticism. These are the real enemies of free speech. You know, when you express solidarity with Palestinians and you speak out against genocide and you get fired for it, shame on you. These are the same people who pontificate and virtue signal about free speech. No, they only support free speech that they support, that they like. But when it comes to free speech that they don't like, all of a sudden they're the biggest enemies of free speech. These people are phonies. I hate them. I hate phonies, fake people that try to talk about free speech as a virtue, but they don't believe in it. They only believe in free speech for themselves. Um, but yeah, coming back to this original idea of Jews controlling the media. So, because Zionists do not make a distinction between Jews and Zionists, people will then say in a simplistic way that Jews control the media. Now, the problem with that statement is that it is easily dismissible as quote unquote anti-Semitic, as anti-Semitic trope, without any real introspective thinking as to what it actually means. Now, let's rephrase that statement from Jews control the media to Zionists have influence, undue influence in the media and in politics. Now, is that latter statement correct? Absolutely, it's correct. It's on display for everyone to see. Anyone with a brain who isn't a Zionist themselves can see that, of course, Zionists have undue influence at CNN, MSNBC, and evidently in Hollywood. You get fired for showing solidarity with the Palestinian people? Of course, Zionists have influence in media, Hollywood, and politics. Okay, I could talk about AIPAC, but this video is getting long enough as it is. But I want to wrap things up with this. Why do Zionists only identify as Jewish, but they never identify as Zionist? Well, because Americans, and especially liberals, collectivize Jews as victims. Now, this is wrong. You shouldn't do that. Collectivizing any group as any one thing is always wrong. That would be like me saying, "All Jews have big noses." No, that's not true. There's Jews with big noses. Sure, I have a big nose. But then there's Jews with small noses. Okay, that's collectivizing a group, painting them all with one broad brush and saying they're all like this. It's untrue. But then it's also untrue to collectivize Jews, every member of that group, as a victim, because it's not true. There are times when Jews are not victims. There are times when Jews are the aggressor. There are times when Jews are racists, rapists, murderers, genocidal maniacs. Look at Bibi Netanyahu. Okay, assuming any of these people are actually Jewish in the first place, that's an even more troublesome aspect to all of this, is that the people who say they are Jewish are not actually Jewish. They're atheists, a lot of them. But they are playing off of this idea that Jewish is ethnicity, which is just a relabeling of race. Okay, if you look at the early history of Zionism, they describe Jewish as a race, not an ethnicity. But that's a topic for another video. So the reason why Zionists only identify as Jewish and not as Zionists is because if they were to identify as Zionists, they would relinquish this privilege of being collectivized as victims. Okay. Now, I said before, collectivizing Jews as victims is wrong. You shouldn't do that. However, they know that the West, and especially liberals, do collectivize Jews as victims. So they get privilege from it. They get special immunity, and they can shout down or chill people's speech by calling them anti Semitic, which effectively shields them from critique. But if they were to identify as Zionist, they get none of these benefits. Okay? Because they know that Zionists are reviled by anyone who isn't a Zionist and actually knows what a Zionist is. Zionism is racism. Okay, I discussed this in previous videos. Zionism, all Zionism is an Ashkenazi separatist movement. Okay, they leveraged a bunch of lies to justify stealing land that doesn't belong to them. What a bunch of pieces of fucking shit. Man, it's sickening. But yeah, if they were to begin identifying as Zionist, they would relinquish all of this immunity and privilege, and they don't want to give that up. Instead, they want to appropriate the victimization of other people, real victims of hate crimes. Okay, because are there hate crimes committed against Jews? Absolutely, there are. Were there people who were victimized by the Holocaust? Yeah, but not all of them were Jews, by the way. However, the people who never suffered a second of any of that victimization want to appropriate their suffering for themselves to give themselves advantages in life. That's shameful and disgusting to me. And that needs to stop. Anyway, guys, what I got to tell you is Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega are heroes. So support their stuff. Okay, I did see one of those Scream movies with both of them in it. I liked it. Wednesday I haven't seen yet, but I actually have it and I'm gonna watch it. So these ladies are great. So anyway, post in the comment section what you think. See you guys later.